Okay, we are now officially, let's see, we should call the meeting to order. It is now 7 o'clock. Let's see, adoption of the minutes from February 1st and the 17th of 2016. Any corrections on that?
Okay, we get to the first. I was not here, so I cannot move to adopt or vote on those. So,
The first.
first.
I move that we approve.
Okay, there's one.
Okay, I'll second that. So that's February 1st. So may we take a vote on that?
Mr. Spraglin?
Yes.
Mr. Crockett?
Yes. Okay, let's move to the minutes from February 17th, 2016.
I'll move they be adopted
Yeah, still a correction on that.
as a little key correction.
Yes.
I'll second.
You weren't here.
Yeah, so I'll second it.
You weren't here. Yeah.
That's a Monday.
Nice try.
Yeah, and may we take a vote?
That's a
Mr.
little
Beecher?
glory, what can you say? Yes.
Mr. Crockett?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so motion to approve payment of bills to the tune of $43,383.72, with $2,555.06 coming from general, $21.99.29 from fire, $4,415.02 coming from cemetery, $5,651.67 coming from EMS billing, and $8,763.71 coming from road and bridge.
I move those accounts be paid.
Second.
Okay, if there is no further discussion?
Mr. Spraglin?
Yes.
Mr. Beecher?
Yes.
Mr. Crockett?
Yes. So bills have been paid. Okay, correspondence. We've received a lot of correspondence this time. And I'll read through the list as quickly as possible. CareWorks 2015 fourth quarter report, notification from Ohio Public Risk Insurance of discontinued coverage, email from OTARMA, calendar call for photos, email from the Auditor of State, confirmation of filing Clifton Cemetery's annual financial report of 2015, email to the Ohio Checkbook regarding updating information available on the website, email from OTA, legislative alert for weeks February 15th and 22nd, League of Women Voters newsletter, The Voter, email from LATARMA, fiscal officer's bond renewal, emails from MVRPC in regards to Transportation Improvement Program survey. Agenda for Board of Directors March 3rd. Email from Greene County Association in regards to preparedness grants. Greene County Public Health Meeting announcement. Email from RPCCs regarding the February meeting. Email from Greene County Engineer Bob Geyer regarding the no-through truck signs. Email from Pete Williams regarding his departure from the Director of Development for Greene County. And email from the Greene County Board of Elections regarding update of county officials list. Email from Clifton's clerk Sue Chesno regarding insurance for 141 Clinton Street. Is that the
Firehouse.
fire? Email from ESC.
I don't know what that stands for, but,
Economic Sustainability Commission.
I figured it was something like that, but. That's a seat.
Yeah, meeting agenda for March, and that meeting's already taken place. YS Chamber chat announcement, email from Lamont Drive resident regarding snow removal, damming, and flooding. Email regarding natural burial grounds inquiry. Email from Mark Hunnebell regarding CDs of historically significant books. Township Zoning Commission, January 19th minutes, and of course our fund status, revenue, and appropriations reports for 03/7/16.
You know, if we canceled our Time Warner internet service, we cut back on these emails a whole lot.
I'm all for it.
All right. I have one additional, which I'll take up under something else.
Okay.
Since we would normally do our fire department report at this point, let's invite both our guests to say anything, or if they have a participation.
My name is Ron Geyer, and I'm a candidate for Greene County Commissioner, and I'm trying to go to every village and township city to see what's going on out in the bowels of Greene County. Tonight I had 2 left on Monday night, Cedars Creek Township and Miami Township. I was hungry, so I went home to eat and came this way. So it was either between here and Xenia, so I just here to observe and learn. So.
Okay.
Could we ask Mr. Geyer any questions?
Well,
And taking questions?
Sure, I'll answer them the best I can.
I have a couple. What's your position if you're elected county commissioner on sharing casino money with townships?
I don't know a lot about that other than Bob Baird's pushing that because he's from Bellbrook and you have to have an 80,000 civilian city or the county gets it all. What Tom Kubler has proposed, which I kind of like, for a possible option in the future, because with $25 million laying around on a $50 million budget, I think it's going to be time to get rid of some of the money. That's just my opinion. But Tom's idea is perhaps to put some sizable monies aside for the townships, villages, cities, whoever, to maybe put in like some form of grants where we might be able to move some of that money to the cities on a regular basis. And I think that's where that money should go back out to everybody else in the county. You know, they don't be sitting up in the county coffers for pet projects or whatever else they want to do with it. So it needs to be dispersed out. The casino money, that'd be part of that money, so how it's dispersed out, I've got a long way to go to get there. I've got 9 months before I would take office, but I feel the money that's in the county, extra money, should be going out, or, and another option Tom just gave me the other day, which is possibly a tax holiday to give some of that money back to the citizens, because they're, again, it is their money. So whether it goes back to the citizens to offset some of the state losses back directly to the townships, or a project for new sidewalks or street lights or whatever, how it gets back to you, I don't care, but I think it should come back to you.
What's your opinion on Ohio's annexation laws? Specifically, I know you know the situation in Beaver Creek, that goofy annexation. What's your feeling on that?
Well, on what I've seen, and again, I'm new to politics, by the way, but my understanding is like the Centerville annexing the Cornerstone development, the Dilly Farm. I just don't think it's right that another county can come over and just take your land. The CMEX situation in Fairborn, I butt up to CMEX property. So I've got mixed feelings there, but I also can tell you when I bought my lot, there's a sign right across the street that says future quarry land. So I bought the lot knowing it was there.
Yeah.
So I don't have an argument with that. I mean, I knew it was there, and I can't fight that argument for the people that think it's wrong, but I think the annexation is wrong. If Xenia Township said they didn't want, then I think it should rely on Xenia Township. I don't like the idea of everyone
Yeah.
coming in and gobbling up parts of Xenia Township.
Do you see yourself being an advocate through the County Commissioners Association of Ohio for stronger township roles in annexation?
Yes.
That comes, because that's gonna have to be addressed here, perhaps not right away, but at some relatively soon point, near point in the future, I think that legislature's gonna have to look at it a little bit more.
Absolutely, because I mean, you're seeing, like I said, with Cornerstone Development, people in Sugar Creek really didn't want it.
Yeah.
So, well, Over goes next door to,
Yeah,
and gets them to take care of it. And now we've got a big argument with Sugar Creek Township's gotta cover the fire and police. Who's supposed to pay for it? I don't know all the ins and outs of all those inquiry details that were determined before it was done. But it seems kinda goofy.
are you familiar with the,
From the common guy, it just seems
Yeah.
kinda wrong, so.
and not to mention the expense of all the lawsuits back and forth?
Exactly, and somebody said they just about spent all Sugar Creek Township's money on lawsuits.
Yeah,
I mean, I think we could have solved it, since it's already done, I
yeah,
think we could have solved the problem. But my understanding is if Senator wants to come over and annex a piece of Green County, as long as they've got permission, you can do nothing about it.
yeah. I know, it's terrible.
So,
Are you familiar with Treasurer Mandel's program of open checkbook?
yes, a little bit, just so it can be seen on your websites and.
Yeah, is Green County in that program at the vote?
I do not know, I think they're working to it if they aren't on it.
Would you advocate the county being part of that
I don't see why they shouldn't be.
voluntarily?
I don't see why they shouldn't be.
Uh-huh.
And I don't see what can be hidden in a checkbook the public shouldn't see. I don't know what's on it beyond your check, you know,
Yeah.
showing what you've written checks for and what the budgets are going to and directly. I don't see a reason why that shouldn't be seen.
I don't know how many are on right now, do you know, we were,
How many
what,
How many?
political subdivisions, entities are in it now?
Statewide, I don't know, but it's, it's getting there.
Mhm.
And the Beaver Creek Township's on it.
It's already public record, it just makes it easier.
Easier to see.
Oh, yeah.
Right, it's just easier for the public to
Yeah.
see.
Oh, well, thank you, Ron, those were just a couple that I had, just to give you something to think about.
I hope I answered them the best I
Came to
can.
Miami Township, I didn't want to bogart all the night. Okay.
In the last 2 or 3 years, farmland taxes have more than doubled, way more than doubled.
Mhm.
That means the county is getting millions of dollars more than they did before. Where's that money going?
Sitting in a $25 million bank account.
Well, that's not very hard.
So that's part of the 25 million.
Well,
That-
the part that the commissioners get.
If they're gonna
That and
sit-
the increase in sales tax, because the economy's gotten a little bit better.
If it's sitting there doing nothing, why did they increase taxes?
That's a
Well, the
good-
state increased the taxes, I mean, to be fair, the county did everything.
Are you talking about the real estate taxes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
That's
talking
part- I
about
think-
primarily farmland
What
prices.
is, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is with the CAUV, it's done on a 3 or 4 year range of
Yeah, that's right.
prices.
Yeah,
So the prices were peaking, I don't know if that's because of what's left from the ethanol boom or what made the prices spike, soybeans,
I
corn.
understand all that. My question is, what are they doing with the money, the extra money that they're getting?
I think right now it's sitting in the checkbook. That's why I'm running for office. I don't think it should be sitting in a checkbook. But my argument in my speeches has been, they like to say that they refinance the sewer bonds and saved you, the taxpayers, $1 million over the next 19 years, saving $1 million a year. My argument was, why didn't we, nobody's getting a refund, nobody got a check back, so we didn't get anything back, we just got a reduced price in a loan. But they could have taken that $1 million, along with part of that $25 million, and perhaps come up with a better idea for the Parks and Recreations and Parks Board. Instead of the 3.6 million tax levy, maybe they could have come up with a future solution to that funding, instead of raising property tax $3.6 million just this year. I'm not against Parks and Recreation, I'm just saying we could have funded them better without a property tax.
I just wanted to ask the question.
That's where I'm coming from.
I'll find it and I'll continue to work on it.
Okay. And I think we're gonna have to do probably something about CAUV tax, just the way it's rated, I don't know.
What do you mean? What are you gonna do with it?
We gotta get with the state officials, and we're gonna have to do something about it. I mean, people, I've heard of farmers getting $25,000 increase in taxes this year.
25.
That's just one I've been told, and, you know, I mean, that's a lot of money, obviously, that's a ton of money. I don't know where you're gonna come up with it. I lived in Sugar Creek, and I couldn't afford to live there, I moved back to Zinc Township. I couldn't afford the taxes on my house. Live and learn, but, I mean, if I can't do it, I'm sure there's other people who can't do it, so, I'm not a real big fan of property tax.
I'm referring mainly to farmland prices,
I understand.
farmland taxes.
Don't be looking for houses in Yellow Springs.
Well, the farmland taxes went up way more than residential.
Yeah.
I mean, way more. I mean,
Yeah.
residential, some of them didn't even change. Maybe they even went down. But the farmland taxes, they're through the roof to the point that you can't, you know, it's questionable if you can make any money.
Make a living, yeah,
Thanks for your information.
that's okay, thank you.
Okay. What about you guys?
Good evening.
Well, you noted in the correspondence there, I requested some CDs, I was looking over some old minutes, and I saw that there was a reference in there to the Greene County, scanning some old township books and things like that. So I thought, well, rather than me come in and do the same thing, if they've got them all done, I actually went over to Greene County and said, no, we just loaned them our scanner, they've got all the CDs over there. So I sent the email and Margaret hooked me up this morning, so I got that and I appreciate that. Stuff goes back to 1884. At least it may go back before then, but they got some county road taxes going back to 1884. You know, it's kind of interesting, but I don't know. I just kind of started looking at it. I don't know what it is. The other thing is that Annalisa had been talking to Richard about getting some BZA records from apparently Mr. Whitmore, who was on the BZA for a period, actually fairly recently, I guess. And we're just kind of looking for a little status update on that.
I talked to John just before I went to France, and he said, this weekend if I don't go to visit my son, but he went to visit his son, so now we're back to trying to find another day to get together, but he is willing to, he thinks he knows where they are, they're at his house, and pass them along. It's just a matter of actually making it happen. So that's in process.
But the other thing is that, you know, during the course of this review and stuff, I've identified some specific records and documents that they're just kind of all over the place, and I don't want to get into a big long list, but ultimately I make a request and say we'd like to get a copy of this. I mean, you may not have it, or you do or you don't, but at least we know that you do or you don't. We'll just make a specific request for those that we do. I had a cemetery question completely unrelated to this, but.
If you don't mind, let's do that, since we were gonna move to the cemetery and road report anyway.
Well,
If you-
of course, you know, one of the things I looked at in the minutes, as I'm looking over these old minutes, there's a couple references to Grinnell Cemetery as being something that the township manages. And I'm like, wait a minute, is that Grinnell Cemetery right next to the bushes? And sure enough, it is. And so I was curious about how, like, I didn't even know who owns it. I thought the Bushes owned it, they just had it right away, and, you know, and that's kind of how it was set up. I didn't realize it was actually administered by the township. But it's kind of curious. Is that what it is? It's administered, is it owned by the township, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it an old family, like
It's
a
an old
Grinnell family
Grinnell.
cemetery?
Yeah. There's supposed about 20 people buried out there.
Grinnell
Yeah.
family. I'm not sure there's anybody else there.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but I mean, is it a?
When did we placed one there?
We sure did.
2-3 years ago?
Michael?
Yeah,
Michael?
it was just,
And that's, there was
it was
one
a
more,
little over a year ago.
right, there was one more supposed, but she's not there, so
Jenny.
it's a work, yeah.
Well, I was surprised to see that. There was some comments about the fence and people putting dogs in there and things like that. But,
Yeah, that used to happen.
Yeah.
And somebody in the family, relative, somebody connected, got someone to take care of it. So
yeah.
they mow it, we don't mow it.
No, I was like, wow. I mean, I couldn't figure out quite who owned it. I thought maybe the Bushes owned it and there was just a right of way. I know there's a right of way to it.
Right, there is.
But
There's a deed
there's a deed restriction in the property out there.
Yeah.
But as far as the actual cemetery, Is it, I mean, like you say, you just put somebody there a couple of
Yeah,
years
it's
ago.
family.
In other words, there's still some
So-
space, it's still an active.
I guess that's my question,
There's
is
no one else,
It's
but I
very
don't,
active, yeah,
I don't-
yeah, it's
yeah, I don't
part
think
of-
there's anybody,
it's
there was
family.
one, but she was buried somewhere else, so I don't think there's anybody else. But if there were, there's space there.
So if somebody wanted to be buried there, they
And
could.
it could
The
be
Grinnell
Grinnell.
family.
Oh, they have to be, so it's deeded that way?
It is the Grinnell family, it's a private.
Yeah, it's private, so it has to be a Grinnell
Oh, okay.
somewhere,
Yeah,
Way back when,
something.
like a DAR or something.
That's all I had. I appreciate the information. I'm just kind of curious. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, well, since we've opened the door, let's proceed with cemetery and road report.
Okay. Well, we've had some burials, we've had 2 full burials, one in Clifton and one here. We're gonna have 2 Wednesday here, ashes. With, one in the old part, one in the village. That's what we got going.
So how do you work with the old part?
Oh, it's an existing, there's stone,
Okay.
there's place in there. I knew it was coming up and I called today, so Wednesday. Take care of Wednesday. Let's see, I've got your guys picking up sticks and cleaning up the place for you. Should be done tomorrow, hopefully.
For you,
who?
Well, for me,
not,
yeah.
not necessarily for me.
It was requested, so. Probably next week we'll pick up the flowers, and we'll wait till the 15th. Pick everything up, because a lot of them look pretty bad. Time to pick them up.
Yep.
Let's see, tomorrow I'll be working on the gravel for the pad for the building in Clifton. And then probably try to cut them trees next week, once I get an answer from Lisa. She's gonna be on
I mean, I issued a permit for that area.
Whatever you think's
it.
gonna
There's
fall
3
out.
right on the fence, and there's 3 probably the width of this room from the fence. I don't know about
If
going
there's
there.
any chance of them falling on that building or on the markers, take them down. They're come- most, they're dead anyway, probably, most of them.
Well,
Depends on
they're
which
alive, but they're ash trees, so it's just a matter of time, I'm
You're
sure.
not on that.
But they're quite a way, a couple of them are probably
Well,
30 feet from our fence.
how tall are they? Are
40
you gonna fall
footers.
on the building or fall on the marker?
No, there's no marker there, so in that general area, yeah.
I'll take a look at them with you.
Yeah, the ones right on the fence, I have no problem taking those. But then we've got the woods there,
There's one on the south side too, that's swinging over there.
out of the woods.
Was it Strings Woods? I'm not sure.
I took 2 down, you
Oh,
show me
did
which
you?
one, I'll
Oh,
take.
well,
There was 2.
maybe you've already got them.
We'll go over and look.
Were you gonna work on it tomorrow?
I'll be over there
On
tomorrow.
that pad?
Mhm.
Let me know when you're there,
I'll be there in the morning.
Basically, just if the trees can hit the building, then it needs to come down, if it's there. If it's not a good tree.
Okay.
Because it will come down.
Oh, yeah.
It may fall.
Got all that woods right there.
Limbs may fall, and it may fall straight down, but it might.
Well, if you can swing by tomorrow, I'll be over there. You have anything for me?
You didn't hear any more about that building?
No, he
So-
hasn't called me. But I'll try to contact him tomorrow, call him back. See if I can get hold
He did get a zoning permit from me for that building.
of him. The builder?
So he's working on it.
Yeah, they're gonna start on the 4th, is that what you
He's gonna
said?
build it on the 4th. They bring the material in on the last week of March.
Okay.
They're supposed to start the building on the 4th if the weather doesn't slow them down someplace.
Because he said to me that you still had to do the pad. or whatever.
It's basically ready, but they want some gravel spread out so they can work on the gravel
Mhm.
instead of in the mud. And take care of
It
that
makes,
tomorrow.
it makes sense if you're trying to do it this time of year.
You gotta have gravel anyway before it's cement.
And well, when they're done, I'll take what I've got out of the building, the 8s. That'd be good for the underneath concrete. That way, really 8s. Pressure. Anything else?
Any further questions for Dan regarding the cemetery?
You sold a couple of lots, right?
I did, up here in the new edition. And I'm gonna use one of them tomorrow, do it in Milligan, that's where one of them's going. And I sold the other to Mr. Nader,
Yep.
is that correct?
Did you call that one person I left you a note?
I did,
Okay,
I talked to him before.
is that right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Did he, on the sink lot?
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to him before, and he told me, after I started talking to him, we had talked before.
oh,
So he's gonna get back to me, he's got one somewhere else to get rid of somewhere else, he's got a grade.
Hmm.
Now, these, the plots in the new edition are not in the natural edition, but in
The natural additions behind the new addition.
I noticed we paid Tony tonight, we were going to. You think that address that we have is the best one to use?
Yeah, I don't know, that's why I'm guessing, because
Yeah.
that's where we sent him before.
Yeah, okay.
That's where I would send it, it'll get there. I don't know who's managing his estate, I'm sure it's his brother,
Mhm.
but, and I told Margaret, I just maybe up to him, because I haven't talked to anybody about it, make me check out anybody
Makes
out.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure his brother's probably managing it,
Mhm.
but we're done, we don't have anything.
Yeah, okay.
Wanna make sure we got paid.
Yeah, right.
well, shall we move on to the road report?
Just prior to that, just because we skipped the fire, before Kyle left, he just let me know that he has arranged to have the roof people come back and address these two leaks, the two new leaks that were, that showed up.
Did he mention anything about the rate stage negotiations?
No further information.
Oh,
Oh,
oh, good evening.
Dan?
Let's see, I'm gonna clean up the lawn Thursday, I'm gonna go up there Thursday and try to clean that up, if it's not pouring that rain. Just get it cleaned up. Try to get that done.
You need to, did you talk to the owner?
Steve hadn't called me, I've never run and tried, cause, I haven't heard one way or other.
It's gotta be cleaned up either way.
Well, I gotta clean it up either way,
But talk to the owners about,
about leaving that open,
yeah.
I don't see if I can contact him, but I'm gonna gotta clean it up anyway, it needs to be cleaned up.
For the sake of the minutes, what do you mean clean it up, like, do
I
you
cleaned the
wash
ditch.
the road, or
Yeah,
what?
load up all the spoils that I took out of the ditch, but I had to open it up, pull the tile out.
Let's go ahead and back up just a little bit, because this is between the last meeting and today. There was a meeting out there to decide what to do with the problem with the drainage that we've had an issue with, that we've had some
Right, I knew
correspondence.
that, but I don't
So, for the minutes, why don't either Lamar or Dan tell us what was decided and what is going to be done?
Well, we had complaints about, tile being plugged up and people couldn't get their, sump pumps to work right. So we went out there, and Dan did, and dug up the old tile, and part of it was full of roots from a tree nearby. So he just dug it all up, ripped it out, and decided to just leave it open, and when it dries out, puts grass seed, grade it, put grass seed on the ditch instead of replacing the tile. And we've had trouble out there for years. So those sump pumps can run out on the open ground in the ditch, and tiles don't have anything to do with it. But, so we're just gonna grade it and seed it and leave it as an open ditch instead of putting the tile back.
Eliminate the problem, for sure.
So we just gotta go out there and pick up the
Clean up
the
our
old
spoils.
tile, and kind of level it off a little bit till it dries out, and this spring you can finish the job.
And you had him clear a small area back past the road where the water eventually
At the end.
slowly goes to.
Right,
Slowly.
we went down there 40 or 50 feet and just,
Actually, the drainage was pretty good. It was just, the tile was holding everything up. Once we opened that up, it flowed, I cleared both sides at the end of the road where the water drains fine.
And just to be sure, the residents on that side of the road were all aware of what was going to happen and what did happen, and as far as we know, are satisfied with the solution, right?
well, I don't know that they knew what was gonna happen, we had to dig it up. That's what I was asking Dan, to make sure that he checked with those people, and then it was okay with them to do what we decided to do, and if they don't like it, then we'll just have to put tile back in, cover it up, and grade it like it was before.
dig it up and then 5 years.
Well, if you put in a
We
plastic
put in
pipe,
plastic,
you won't have roots in it anymore.
well, that's what we put in.
Oh, before?
10-inch plastic, it wasn't perf, it was corrugated, it wasn't perforated.
Oh,
The roots still got in.
Well, you didn't go far enough down, away from the tree. First
Well,
time.
we took, what I pulled out was where we went the last time. We went that far last time.
Well,
So it found its
Well,
way in somewhere.
somewhere,
Well, I-
okay.
So
Well, I
now,
saw
I,
it was-
you know, whether to go with a double smooth wall, 12 or 10
Yeah.
inside, you know, maybe that'll help a little more if I
Well,
have.
and I guess it becomes the joint in the pipe is the critical
Right.
issue.
Right, so,
well, the one I saw was full of roots, was perforated. I
Oh.
don't think you went far enough the first time with the solid tile. And then it became perforated and there's roots.
we're back the other
When-
direction.
Went far
Oh,
enough
and then came up the, yeah.
that they got by the solid tile into the perforated tile and they just, maybe they came back up.
It's clear now, you can look in that pipe and you can shine a light right away down through there.
Normally, roots go to
The edge
the
of
drip
canopy.
edge of the canopy, but trees are different, some go farther than that. And it's not a hard
Well,
and
if they
fast
get to a
rule.
place that's nutritious for water, they'll grow a lot right there.
No, I don't know.
Well, there's water in the tile going nowhere, so we can clean it.
But anyway, it's working now.
Mm-hmm.
Just see what they
I'll see
say.
if I can get a hold of him. Steve was supposed to talk to him and call me. I'll go.
No, you do it.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Don't have somebody else say, he said, she said. You talk to the owner.
Okay. And I'm taking Friday.
You're taking a whole series of Fridays off.
Just this one.
Okay.
It's one in the series.
Yeah, one in the series.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Dan?
Oh, sure.
On Houston Road, on Porter's side, about where that is, about where that little culvert ditch bridge thing is, right on the road, there's a big tree,
He's
looks
dead cherry.
really dead.
Been dead for a long time.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
looking
know,
worse.
it looks worse.
It's looking worse.
One of these days, maybe, I don't know if we ought to have Derek or somebody go take it out, or, I don't know, it's awful.
It's right there at the edge of the guardrail bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been dead for 10 years, 15 years.
Yeah,
What do you mean, take it out, why don't you just cut it off?
Well, I could cut it down, clean it up. But I have to lay it
Pretty
on the
good-sized
road.
tree,
I have to lay it on the road.
yeah,
I don't wanna drop it in the creek or on their property.
right.
It could be done. If you want it down, I'll put it on the list.
Yeah, I don't, might be a little big for you to handle. You're not getting.
You're talking to
younger.
Paul Bundy.
You're getting younger, Paul.
How big is it?
Oh, it's probably 28 inches in diameter.
But it's gonna, yeah, it's gonna come down on the road,
Yeah, I have to lay it on the road.
so, you know, it's gonna, it would take quite a while for him compared, I don't know, I'm just saying, not forcing him to cut it himself, I'm just saying, it ought to be thought about anyway.
Yeah.
I had an enjoyable morning from 9 until 2 o'clock at the
That was gonna be my next question. I forgot
at
about
the
that.
Township Garage after 2 weeks ago, spending the 4 hours there waiting for Time Warner to come and hook up a cable that never happened. I waited for AT&T to come and hook up a modem that never happened, and theoretically it's gonna happen tomorrow. I've got all these important people here tonight, I don't wanna take up a whole lot of time, but I'm so excited that, you know how we changed from Sage to AT&T on our
Sure.
phones?
Yeah.
And the bill went
And
from
the
like,
bills are here.
yeah, went from like, I don't know, just $45 a line, we have,
To
what,
60 something along.
to 60 something, and we haven't even got our long distance charges according to this guy yet. This could be an additional
Oh.
$10 per,
I thought long distance is included.
he said it was gonna be on top of it. Be that as it may.
Anyway,
Anyway, so I inquired about what the possibilities were, and what we're going to do if this ever happens is, we're going to provide low-speed, not very fast, internet service to the garage, so Dan can access the cemetery software currently and or in the future. But what that's gonna do is with that bundle, that $40 charge for the internet, it's gonna drop all those $60 plus lines. One of them is gonna be $50, and all the additional one's gonna be $25.
Well,
And whatever charges for the long distance is gonna be cut in half for each
just
phone
because you're
line.
gonna get internet?
Uh-huh. Isn't that
Well, how
weird?
much is the internet?
$40 a month.
Oh, that seems like a
So
steal.
it's cheaper.
And this is not a promotional thing, this is gonna go on for as long as we want to,
Well, until they raise it.
until they raise it.
Are phones going to go out again for a while? Or
No.
No interruption?
No, you'll be all right. You can call back all those nine calls that are waiting on your phone, those 9 old ones. Anyway, so I get to go back out tomorrow morning and hopefully wait for the guy to come and put them
What's
on.
your time frame?
9 to 11 again.
Oh, that's a fairly tight window for those guys.
Well, it
Usually
is.
they can make a 4-hour window.
It's not bad if they actually show up sometime between 9 and 11. But when you call at 11 and they say, oh, well, really, it was rescheduled, and we forgot to tell you that till 1, and then it didn't happen. Anyway, that's, I think that's all oh, no. Let me look real quick. Potholes we won't worry about, tree we won't worry about, and that's all. Okay.
Potholes will be like late next week.
Yeah.
They're still growing, you know.
Yeah.
They're still growing. It's not time to harvest them
Yeah,
yet.
they're still,
They're not very big, but there's
No,
gonna be a
they're-
few of them.
yeah,
Yeah.
another week and I'm gonna patch them up. I guess I'm on Jacoby anyway, but need to get a few of them, but they left me some.
Yeah, that's nice.
And with the cold patch? Is that what
You got your salt, did you see it? It's back there.
Franz brought it in the letter, didn't he?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I pushed it up, I said, I'm gonna do it.
Oh, okay.
We're about to send in the mail an invoice to Clifton for snow removal and street repair. What was the total, 2,200?
For
What, the
snow
invoice
removal this
presented,
year?
yeah,
4,600.
oh, 46,
The
yes.
2,200 is for the chip seal
Oh, that's right, yeah,
on their end.
so just letting you know.
I thought that was very interesting, thank you. Well, he told me.
Oh, well,
I thought it was very interesting that, I was talking about Xenia Township bringing that salt over, it's very interesting that, the deal that, see, we're gonna store Xenia Township salt for them, that they're not being used, the way Bath Township stores our salt for us, that it's not being used. But the reason that Xenia
Everybody
Township,
got it in a different township.
but the reason that Xenia Township needs someplace to store it is because if they take it back to where they got it, which is the county garage, you know, Bob Geyer's operation, if they take it back to Bob Geyer's place, and if they dump it at Bob Geyer's place, he'll store it for them, but he won't credit the price that they paid for it. So they'd have to buy it back to get it back off of Bob Geyer's storage lot.
So he'll just take it, but he won't.
Yeah, they can dump it there, but
They can dump it,
they
but
they
he
don't
won't.
get credit.
That's nice of them.
they don't get it, if they dump it,
No,
then
once it- once
it's
they like,
illegal,
they
once it's out,
relinquish
it's
ownership,
If they
yeah.
don't use it, they take it back, they
Hmm,
lose
Bob
it.
Geyer guy,
Yeah, so if anybody's going to see him tomorrow night, then
Geyer.
we can talk to him about his salt.
So we just let them dump here, and when they need salt, I'll load them up.
That's nice of us.
Yeah, we're good people.
Yeah, we are good people, aren't we?
People.
I think so.
We're okay.
Okay.
Good, Mr. President, that's all I have.
Did you say you're gonna get those 57s from Xenia Township?
They're on haul.
From where?
See, Rip.
Oh, you're jumping back to
Well,
the rocks
just
for
a-
the building at the cemetery, right,
Yeah.
Lamar?
They're just hauling for it.
Yeah, this, you don't need to put minutes.
No, well, I'm just trying to
my
keep track of where
curiosity.
we're going.
Okay.
The big trucks, you know, need batteries and hasn't run for a while, so. They've offered to haul them for us. They'll just get them under, we'll pay for them. We're not gonna pay for them, but they'll just haul them up there for me.
And will that, because
Yeah,
we're good
that's how we help each other out, they help us out, they're good people.
Any other questions for Dana? Okay, let's move on to the fiscal officer's report.
Okay, well, I have a resolution to amend temporary appropriations just two little amendments, so I can go ahead and read that, and then we can talk about permanent appropriations. Whereas it is an ongoing process to determine appropriations for fiscal year 2016, and whereas it is required to submit any and all appropriation changes made to the 2016 budget to the county auditor. Now therefore, the trustees authorize the following changes to the temporary appropriations and instruct the fiscal officer to submit them to the county auditor. In the general fund, I increased, and keep in mind, this is temporary appropriation, so it's not going above and beyond what we would normally spend. 1,110,599, which is other, increased by $1,000. And under road and bridge, salaries was increased by $5,000. We had a lot of overtime that has occurred lately, and didn't quite, you don't know how much is gonna snow when you make your temporary appropriations, so we had to pay the man.
Approved.
Second.
All right, if there's no further discussion?
Mr. Sprackland?
Yes.
Mr. Crockett?
Yes.
Mr. Mutcher?
Yes.
Okay, so then, you all have in front of you the permanent appropriations as with some changes necessary. If you want to look at in the general fund, about a quarter way down is auditing services, and I put $2,000 there. I do expect we're gonna be audited this year. And generally the audit is more, but I also appropriated that what we've done in the past is have the fire department pay for a chunk of the audit, since the majority of the auditing is fire related. So that's why it says 2,000 there.
I still think it should say
Less?
6.
Oh, but
I mean, the audit's gonna cost us $12,000. I
why?
don't, because it always does.
No.
Oh, yes.
Oh, well,
Well, look
then
at
my
your last
memory does not
article.
serve me properly.
All right, well,
Yeah, okay, well then, sure, we can change that.
I'm just saying to be prepared. We don't have to change it now, but at some point, we're gonna end up needing
It's
more
gonna
of
be
that
more.
cut, yeah.
Okay, well, I was thinking that's gonna cost about 6.
They don't seem to get it all done in 1 year. You have to pay for it.
Alright, well, so, yeah, we can leave that as it is until we need it, is that what you're suggesting?
Okay, as long
Yeah, just as long
as
as we have the conversation,
we.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. There was a question about contracted services, and the gas tax fund. So if you flip a couple pages to page 3 of your appropriations, here. Here, 3 is gonna be right here. Alright, alright, and then over here. You go over here, I got 75,000, and it looks like you wanna add 25,000, Chris?
No, I wanted to reduce it to 25.
Oh, okay, because we're just
Just,
not gonna spend that much this year.
yeah, and gas tax doesn't have as large of a pool of cash as we had last year.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Because
you
we're
know,
gonna
instead
spend a
of,
bunch this year.
instead of virtually, I mean, right now, I mean, I realize it's an accruing thing, but right now, there's only 75 in the account, and, that contracted services would drop that to 0, and I'm not really sure we're gonna get between now and the end of the year. We might get 60 plus, and I just don't think that's gonna cover all the rest of the expenses, so I don't think it's justified to put that much in contracted services.
Works for me.
We'll,
I was
we'll do it, we'll pay, we have a roughly, we got 60 plus thousand for road repair,
Yeah.
potentially, so in road and bridge, we've already got that covered.
Right, well, last year we appropriated 90,000.
Yeah, there's 90 in there, so we're not gonna,
That
we're
was
not gonna
in
get
gas
near.
tax
yeah.
last year, that's why, and I dropped it to 75.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so, that's easy to do.
Okay,
And,
assuming Mark and Lamar agree.
Fine.
and what did I do here in cemetery, let's see.
Well, the question with the
Oh.
cemetery was the water bill was substantially higher than,
Right, but I don't know,
Necessary.
but, I think I put one too many
I
zeros,
think so.
because we only
You
spent.
just hit that button a few times.
I did, I think, Last year,
You can't
the
go home
cemetery
faster.
spent $120 and I
Yeah.
appropriated $1,400, so I think, yeah, I need to knock a zero off of that
Yeah.
one. I agree with that.
You know,
And, on to page 5, right here. We are looking at, towards the bottom, under, other employee fringe benefits. Last year, it was 14,000. Let me see. Is that right? I think it's 14,000 appropriated. And actually, yeah, we spent about 13,842 last year. And, but the reason why it was reduced is because, we lost a couple of, there were 6 or 7 folks that were in the program, and that was reduced, so that's, and I did the math, and so 9,000 should cover us.
okay.
Okay. Oh, and then moving on to page 6, under the EMS services. I basically, followed Colin's suggestion on that, to not have, under motor vehicles and EMS services, he did not appropriate anything there. So I didn't put anything in there.
Okay, I'm not
That's-
sure what the reasoning is, but,
I'm not either, I can't speak for that. So
I can ask him.
maybe he just forgot, or maybe he was just, you know.
well, he'll be back tomorrow, we just.
Yeah, so
run by that.
anyway, yeah, and for public information, all these appropriations that we do every year are, not, permanently engraved in, granite, so, it's just a matter of a resolution, we can change our amendment, our appropriations to up or down, whatever we need. So, but we try and, work from some numbers every year, and that's
They're
what this is.
reasonable.
Right, you try, yeah,
You intend to adopt these, next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I just wanted to have the conversation
Okay.
before we do that, so then, well, there will be, as long as everybody's okay, we're gonna talk to Colin about the 75,000 that we try to save a certain amount of money every year to save up to buy a new piece of fire equipment apparatus, which is big bucks. We're about to spend a bunch of bucks on an ambulance.
next
So-
meeting, I'll try and, just put like I usually do, put a rough estimate of, expenses versus revenue, where we stand going into this other appropriation, so just a
Okay,
good
then.
idea.
Yeah, we'll have a resolution at the next meeting then, great. Anybody else have any questions?
Regarding that, no. Other things, yes.
Sure.
Okay. If you don't mind, would you make those payroll certification slips out for us?
I don't mind at all, and thank you for reminding me.
Okay. You had asked me when I went to this safety deposit box, what was in there,
Right.
and I took out a couple of things that were just silly to be in there. And I also took out the minutes and the backups, so we keep them all in one place. Either they go back in there, or they go out into the safe. But I didn't think splitting them, because,
Right.
I had put 3 or 4 years, including the backups that Mr. Honeywell saw. They were in that safety deposit box. Now, we'll probably just keep them in the safe, just because they're just as probably.
Out of the concept.
Yeah, and we've got a little more space there. But other things that are there, the original deed to this firehouse from Antioch College, the 100-year lease for the Clifton
Yeah.
Firehouse is out there. That is also out there, it's down the list, the Grinnell Mill lease. The deed for the garage property, Erna Kaup's will for Grinnell Cemetery endowment, which was before my time, and I have no idea whatever happened to that, and so I don't know. Another partial deed for Clifton, it must have been split. Interesting, the original certificate of election from the Board of Elections in the 1962, which was the enactment of our zoning by the voters of Miami Township, is in there. The Willowfield easement that we hold, the only easement, conservation easement that we hold, the 100-year lease for the Grinnell Mill, I should mention that. The leg deed for Clifton Cemetery is there. You know, I guess it's all right to be there. I mean, that's a cemetery board
That's
piece
for
of
their lot.
property. The new deeds for the Glen Forest Cemetery, after we just acquired that, and the Cooperative Economic Development Agreement that's expired in Village of Yellow Springs and Miami Township is in there. I think that's it. So,
Primarily, it's deeds, but there's a couple other documents.
pretty much, yeah, a couple of, yeah. Yes, we could keep them all out in that little safe. That's kind of putting all our eggs in one basket. Might be just as well to leave that where it is. It
Yeah,
doesn't cost us a fortune to maintain that.
it's $40 a year.
Why don't think about that?
Make copies of those deeds and put copies someplace else. County's got it, it's recorded
Yeah,
anyway.
you should make sure that they've all been recorded, if any of them are, for some reason, didn't get recorded, but that's
100-year
your
lease.
your backup.
The 100-year lease to Clifton Farmhouse, when did that start, do you remember?
1935.
About 20 more years.
I don't need to worry about that.
I think, and the dollar was paid in 1935, so we're paid up till 2035.
Erna had a thing for our Grinnell Cemetery, her job, no,
Yeah,
without it being
$1,500 or something, yeah.
She must have been,
She
she
took care of
was she
Clifton
related?
for years, did she?
Hmm?
When she the sexton at Clifton for years.
I don't, yeah, I was kind of surprised.
Must have been friends with family or something.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what's there.
And we have deeds to a couple of houses in Springfield.
We do not.
There's some will to that effect.
Yeah,
Is it in there?
no, not, all of that is in that file that I showed you. All the information from all the negotiations and the attorneys, and they had to pay for an easement because there's two houses that share one driveway, and they needed to get that settled. Those deeds are in the name of the person who owns it, and only upon the death of the person who is living there does the property get transferred into the cemetery's name. And then, as we've discussed, only the proceeds from the investment on those funds can be used for the cemetery. So,
It's an endowment.
yeah. So I would expect at this day and age, you know, there may be a couple $100 a year generated.
You're lucky.
Yeah, right,
Which is better than nothing,
it ain't much.
It's kind of scary
So-
to have to invest that money when we don't, in the future, buy treasury bills, they may be in the minus column for
Yeah.
the rates are going.
Who did you say his name was on that deed about Grinnell Cemetery? Marjorie Cup?
It was not a deed, it was a will.
Yeah. She's
in her-
apparently one of the owners of that land out there. Cup portion. She deeded that center field property
Is that
to
right?
Antioch College in 1948.
Oh,
And then it basically ended up getting deeded
Oh, the
around.
center at the circle?
Yeah, that 8-acre field in the
Oh,
middle.
the
and then-
donut.
Oh,
well, that's
But the
probably,
cemetery's-
she
Well,
probably.
the
cemetery's
cemetery's off
not
that,
in
but the
there.
point is that it was her, Malcolm Grinnell, Ralph Grinnell, Harold Grinnell, and Cornelius Grinnell,
Uh-huh.
all owned that. And they deeded it to Antioch College. Actually, deeded the whole damn thing.
There's a
Yeah.
cemetery too?
I don't know about the cemetery, I'm just pointing out that there was a relationship to the
Yeah.
Grinnell family there.
Right.
She was one, yeah, she was the only
She
name
was
that
one
wasn't
of the
Grinnell.
owners of that, and that's why she would have been on that, deed with regard to the
Yeah,
cemetery.
well, there's the connection.
There you go.
Cornell's bought that
Thank you for
land
that.
from the Indians.
Well, not really.
I have
Thank you.
another item that was, I think listed in our, should have been listed in our, correspondence, and yeah, it's the second thing under correspondence. Ohio Public Risk Insurance notification, notifies of discontinuing, discontinued coverage. Did you note what this is about? Cause I called Darlene today, I wasn't sure exactly what the coverage was that was being discontinued, and I wanted to make sure that we weren't,
Just thought it was BFIS coverage.
No, that's a separate thing. This is when we were insured with, the VFIS.
Oh, this is prior.
This is, we purchased an additional liability coverage for public officials. And one was an additional, and they would be responsible, if any of the public officials or actually like Colin or anybody that does any hiring or whatever, and that we were gonna be sued, a civil suit was brought upon us, that they cover the legal expenses and if somebody's looking for monetary damages up to, there's two pieces of paper here. One extended the coverage to an additional $1 million, and then this one extended coverage for an extra $2 million. So there's extra $3 million of coverage or payable out amount. But that's what this is about. We need to sign it or you guys need to sign it if you don't want it to continue that coverage, additional coverage, or if you want it, then either way, these have to be signed.
How much it cost?
The extra, the first $1 million is $6,870. And the second one, if I read this correctly, it was and $2 more million would be $3,666. So we're looking at about, over $10,000.
We don't need that.
To who?
To Ohio Public Risk Insurance people.
Otarma or BFIS?
No, this is BFIS thing. This is what we had when we had BFIS. We had purchased this extra coverage.
Okay,
But it
would you
wasn't
be
per year.
nice enough to run that by Tom Welch and ask him
Make sure that, how
what he
many
recommends?
dollars, that we would be covered by.
How much you currently covered for, is it sufficient?
Right, I didn't know, I just wanted to make you all aware of what this was, because first I was reading, I
But you
didn't
were
really
saying
understand what
that-
it was, so I called Darlene to find out what exactly is
We are
discontinued.
covered by the prosecutor's office. We don't need that.
Well, let's find out
Let's find out what's going on. I will.
The meeting up to Clifton, isn't that what she said?
Okay,
I thought so.
all right, that's all, I just wanted to bring this up.
That's,
We don't need it.
Well,
We'll ask him, but
Yeah, I will.
the prosecutor represents us, but if the prosecutor represents us and if we lost the case, the prosecutor would not pay the $1 million damages, we would have to pay the $1 million
Right,
damages.
that's where.
They cover the legal fees, but not the
Right.
damages.
Well,
That's
Mr. Moocher
both.
would have to pay it.
Pardon me?
You'd have to pay it,
Correct,
personally.
correct.
Only you, not Mark or.
Right, just me.
But,
Okay, well, I just wanted to.
so we need to find out.
I wasn't gonna make that decision, I needed to tell you guys that.
Thank you.
Sure.
are you sure about that, please?
Pretty sure. They don't have that much money, I don't think.
Yeah, they do, they got,
$25 million.
That's true.
okay.
What's your opinion about that?
I don't know who covers that. Although, I don't know who covers the county commissioners, but I wanna find out, because if I need it, I wanna make sure I'm covered.
You don't wanna drop out?
You're right there too.
I don't think I have anything else, but there may be more, Chris.
Any further questions for Marty?
No, thank you.
Lamar?
Okay. Then let's move on to zoning inspector.
I don't think I have anything that's exciting that's been going on.
Well, this is,
I did issue my first 2 permits for this year, but one of them was for the building in the cemetery. The other is that the cannons out on the corner of Grinnell and Clifton are replacing an old barn. They're tearing it down with a new whole building. Still storing the same equipment, nothing's really changing. So that's not too exciting. Let's see, the zoning commission met, and made enough progress in the agricultural section that they're actually past the residential issue and getting into the various conditional uses. So there's a little notice of progress there. The other item that's come up is OTA is planning for scheduling and content for their spring conference for zoning inspectors. And that will be end of April, early May, and I was asked to submit suggested topics. And so I picked through all of the issues that have been coming up in front of us and sent those off to Heidi, so we'll see what happens. But I know the last one, there were 2 or 3 things that we were concerned about, and by God, they were on the list, and they went to the conference.
Yeah.
So, that's a kind of a nice relationship if it continues that way. Well, let's see, we heard about looking for records on the BZA, and I think that's it.
Short and
Otherwise,
sweet.
things are relatively quiet.
Any further questions for Richard?
Well, that's sort of a curiosity question, I don't know if Richard knows or not, but when I went to the last zoning commission meeting, I was going down the street and looked in here in the window, and the room's empty, and they meet over at the Byron Center, and then some people were in the room, and it was a scheduling problem, and I asked them, I said, how come you don't meet at the township building? And somebody said, we always meet over there, at the Bryan Center. I was just curious as to, they like it better, or?
No, it's because there are enough activities going on here, particularly with the fire department.
Is that what
That
it
does
is, that
various
training
training,
and stuff?
that this room isn't always available on a regular basis. And we just,
I was just
we've even
curious.
had public hearings, down in the basement or whatever, and they finally said, well, let's see if we can get a regular space. And for a while, we met in one of the larger rooms over there, and then realized that most of the time we don't need that space, and they've got the little room where you've been, and that's just worked very well, so we've been there for several years.
Tuesday evenings, they have member training here. Wednesday evening, there's an informal workout sessions that everybody's around here. But it's mainly when they have classes for EMT and paramedic, or not paramedic, well, sometimes they have paramedic, but fire classes, those sort of thing. They'll use the room
It's the only room they have.
almost
We don't
every,
have another room here.
they'll use the room almost every day for 8 weeks or 12 weeks or however long the class is, which then if you got a normal monthly, well then they've gotta go find someplace else to go. And so they just decided quite a few years ago that Bryan Center, they could have on a continual basis, and not have to worry about, whether they could have a space
I
here or
thought
there.
it might be something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's one of the reasons why we, the trustees, are looking for a place to build a new and expanded facility, because this just doesn't cover all our needs all the time. But no, there's no other reason than just
Okay.
competition for space.
Any other questions for Richard? No? We'll skip standing committee. Is it next week, next month, next 2 weeks?
Next
right?
It's a meeting.
Any new business?
I have one kind of new business / correspondence I just wanted to let you know. You saw it somewhere, Mark, but maybe I picked up the piece of paper, took it. But we received a request from MVRPC to participate in a study regarding the potential removal of low dams, and specifically the Grinnell Mill Dam by the Ohio EPA was asking for information about this. And it kind of got my hair in the back of my neck a little prickly, so I went down to Dayton this afternoon and met with the man from MVRPC who wrote the request, and had a brief but informative conversation about it. Basically, in 25 words or less, what his thing is, MVRPC, of course, does these things for different organizations, and Ohio EPA is one of them, different studies, different surveys and the like. But he's saying probably what it is Ohio EPA, every once in a while when they get a large fine, a settlement, they've got a little extra money floating around, they'll start programs that they've got on a priority, they'll go down a list of programs on a priority list and see what they can get accomplished with this money. Sometimes they spend the money themselves, sometimes they offer whoever they made the fine to undertake the work themselves. It allows them to get off with a little less money spent and a little more PR that they've gone out and done all this good work. Basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to find out dams in rivers that people do not want. Not the ones that people want, but the ones they don't want, and would appreciate some assistance in removing them. So long story short, I was concerned that they were sniffing around to come down and
Push you to take it out.
yeah, to take it out, but that's not the case. I've been assured of that. So I will go ahead and fill out the survey. And he said it goes into two piles. The dams, and there's 22 of them that they're surveying around the 5-county area that they're in. I didn't think there'd be that many, but there's going to be a pile for the ones that people want to keep, and a pile for ones that people don't want. He says, the pile that people want to keep, that pile's going to get thrown away, and the pile that people want to get rid of, they'll forward
They
that.
may appropriate some money someday.
Yeah.
How is the one that, the one that we have, it's older than a lot of the ones that they're surveying?
That I don't know.
I thought it was pretty old, wasn't it?
It's very old.
Well, at least the right to have a dam there, it's been rebuilt.
Yeah, it was originally put in 1810, 1812.
Oh my.
It's
Wow.
been replaced 4 times, I believe. The current one is from the 1930s.
I don't know any more than you do, but I just know, something about it.
Is that the dam that was the center of some degree of controversy when you're all setting up the B&B, the Grinnell Mill, that it had to do with diverting the water into the mill race? And
Yeah.
It failed though by
But
then.
Little Miami Incorporated wanted to take that out, and you guys fought it, and I never really saw the disposition of that. So that's still there.
The dam's still there, although unfortunately,
It's just not in great repair.
about 10 years ago, a storm washed out about a third of it.
So it's clearly not running water.
It's
back
not
into the
functional
race
anymore.
but-
And we had tried to rebuild it, but we found out that the Little Miami River is a national scenic river,
Right.
and the only way to rebuild it, literally, is an act of Congress. The United States Congress would have to pass a law.
Yeah, I got
Allowing
that
that to
discussion, I
happen.
saw that, and I'm like, oh boy, all right, I can see where this is going.
Yeah, but we did cross swords with ODNR for quite a while, and they wanted to remove it as an obstruction, just as an obstruction to the river and the natural flow and all this, that, and the other thing. And we went back and forth with them for quite a long time, and we ended up finding that there was a little bitty loophole in as much as the political subdivision where a dam is located on the scenic rivers. If the political subdivision does not agree to the removal of it, then ODNR doesn't have the authority to go in on their own and take it out. So they did back off on that.
I'm just curious.
A little footnote, this is a long time ago, when I was at Antioch, I took a canoeing class, and the first day we went out to that pond behind the dam
Yeah.
to practice canoeing. So it used to be a functioning dam. May I have the floor again? I forgot something in my
Sir,
report.
or Mr. President, maybe.
Maybe. I left out that I, or Miami Township, I participated in the regional planning's training session that was held in Clifton, and Lamar was there, a couple people from our zoning commission, and I think maybe everybody from the Board of Zoning Appeals attended the meeting. So I thought that was good, and it was an interesting program, and I've been asked, now Lamar's the only person I can ask tonight, if there's any feedback on that. Did you feel it was worthwhile? How should they do things differently the next time? Do you have any?
It was worthwhile as sort of a reminder. I'm not sure that I learned anything really.
That you didn't already know, but yeah.
But it kind of keeps you freshened up on what's going on.
Okay.
And certainly for any new members of either the Board of Trustees,
Oh, yeah,
BZA, or a zoning
Oh,
commission.
no, I think it's definitely
Benefit.
valuable for new folks.
Yeah.
Always. Okay, well, I will pass that on. Thank you.
It was impressive that we had so many people there.
Yeah, we filled up that Opera House.
Yeah.
Well, as I said at the last meeting, that's probably because everybody lived within a block or two of the Opera House.
The only thing that was funny was that however it was organized, nobody opened up the Opera House till the minute that everything was supposed to start.
Yeah.
So we had people in their cars parked up and down the street. It was a little chilly that night.
What surprised me was our county prosecutor, Stephanie, brought cookies. She brought refreshments even.
She had 25 million in the county coffers.
Whatever that means, what the prosecutor's office has.
She should have had a whole meal. Huh? That's-
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, that's smart, right?
That's a smart idea.
Okay. Yeah,
Regional planning is not getting that money, by the way.
the question of where Lamar was at the last meeting was brought up.
No, this wasn't the same night as a trustee meeting, was it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
was
it
it?
was, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, because it wasn't a regular Monday, it was a
Right.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right.
It was a holiday.
Okay.
Before we adjourn and,
Oh, I was
Richard
ready
just-
to adjourn,
Oh, he's got, well, I'm
okay,
done.
go ahead.
yeah. I was gonna move on to old business.
Oh, okay, I have none.
I move with you.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, that's old business.
I wanted to ask candidate Guy one additional question. Ask him, and I already know the answer to this,
Is this
but
old business?
I'd like, yeah, this is.
No, this is outside.
This is, we're back to from the floor.
Of course we are.
Of course.
Go ahead.
Your level of support from the Commissioner's Office for the continued operation of Greene County Regional Planning Coordinating Commission's functions.
Good question.
I'm not aware of what that function is right now.
We would encourage you to learn about it and to understand why the funding was cut severely. Because it's an organization that gives us a lot of support.
I know you're
that
talking
we
about
can
Miami
use.
Valley Regional
No,
Planning.
no, Greene
Greene County Regional Planning.
And coordinating commission.
Which was this close to being out of business
Mhm.
about 18 months ago as a result of
Definitely.
the prior county administrators talking the commissioners into a new formula for funding, which they all agreed to, and underfunded the department to the extent where it was virtually unsustainable. Subsequently, the commissioners have changed their mind as to their funding formula and are back to funding it the way it was intended to be. And the commission is functioning on an ongoing basis as opposed to a day-to-day basis, but
So the funding's back.
yes.
Well, but it's an operation that has on the order of 2.5 employees today, and it used to be more like 5.
Fine, yeah.
Right, but you gotta start somewhere.
No,
So
yeah,
that's-
no, I'm
that's
just
where
saying,
to start.
there-
things aren't, it wasn't just a blip and everything is back to normal.
Right.
so to
And
speak.
what is the purpose of the Greene County Regional Planning Commission as opposed, are they to work with the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission to make sure?
They don't do things like transportation, which is regional, which is Miami Valley does. They basically support the planning for Greene County, either overall or within the various townships and cities, so that there's some coordination between everybody. And they do reviews of all subdivisions, okay, which is a county concern. And that's a big part of their activity. I can't speak for them entirely, but for example, they host a meeting of Greene County zoning inspectors and zoning administrators bi-monthly, which is very valuable to us, because we not only share information between us, because it increases our experience, but the regional planning will bring in speakers or their expertise and their connections with the state and all to update us on information that we should know about.
Okay.
One of their larger functions is by law, anytime a township zoning commission is looking to have a new amendment, either for a new text amendment or to changing their map, their zoning map. By law, they have to take that recommendation that they're formulating, the zoning commission, and pass it along to the regional planning coordinating commission for their review and recommendation, whether it is an appropriate change in their opinion that fits in with the township zoning and comprehensive plan that's in place. And if they feel that it's not, then they'll recommend that the zoning commission does not go forward and recommend to the Board of Trustees to make that change. Again, these are all recommendations. Ultimately, the Board of Trustees would make that decision. But these recommendations are part of the process that allows for kind of a give and take and an openness and a sort of a checks and balances against any particular board or commission sitting there and rewriting all the zoning rules and regulations on their own.
It's a little bit like
He
the
was the guy-
annexation wars we were talking about. They try to balance things out.
He was also, was he the guy that represented, like, last week, Village of Spring Valley and Spring Valley Township, they had the gravel pit
Yes.
issue? He recommended it be declined.
Right.
Too.
Ken LeBlanc.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
that
Thank you.
is the,
And I've seen him at the commission meetings presenting
That is the
plat,
board, right.
plat drawings.
He's the current
Okay.
director
Yeah,
of the
okay.
plan.
you may have known Bob Schroeder in the past,
Yeah, I knew Bob
may have
Schroeder.
heard the name Stephen Anderson in the past, and Ken LeBlanc is the current
Okay.
director. Okay, thank you.
I didn't realize they had been cut before and back again, so. Okay.
Okay. Any further information or discussion?
I did have just one question. What is your annual budget?
Our annual budget runs about $1.5 million. About half of that is generally a carryover, real live income. It runs about $1.1 million.
Okay.
Not so big.
You got axed by the state, I'm assuming,
Oh, yeah.
as everybody else did. How much money did you lose?
We probably had to account for about a $40,000+ adjustment across different departments. We ended up losing an employee and reducing our road repair, specifically our road repair budget. We do so little capital purchases. I mean, it's such a long term. I mean, a new truck every like 10, 15 years. That it wasn't a real instant hit on us. But obviously, it's
State taxes.
Well, the state taxes and that combined
State taxes
made a
are
significant difference.
Loss. But that was state, right?
It was a state law.
Yeah.
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 So anyway, there we are.
All right.
Here we are.
I second your motion to adjourn.
Still some time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're out by acclamation.